So I'm going to put some lettuce in the greenhouse. Already popped them out of the cells. They look pretty good, actually. Pretty decent looking. They look good, so I'm going to poke holes with my little handheld dibbler and plop these in. If you guys remember, this is the bed that I just put compost in the other day when I screened my compost. I have I have spinach and kale too that I want to get put in, but I don't, in this bed. It'll go on up behind where the camera's sitting. This bed, in about a month, will have cherry tomatoes run down the middle. So probably every fourth or fifth lettuce plant that's in the middle, it'll come out, and a cherry tomato will go in it. Take this beautiful lettuce start, drop it in the hole, push it down in with 2 fingers, and that's that. And that's truly all I'm going to do until I run out of starts, and then I'll go get more. Key to it is these are nice and moist. They were watered really good beforehand, and the soil was watered really good beforehand. So the more you get things moist, nice and wet, the less transplant shock you're going to have. You probably will still have some. Lettuce usually transplants pretty good. It direct seeds fairly well too, but it takes a while to germinate this time of year because the soil itself isn't all that warm. Lettuce needs soil temperatures around between 65 and 75 degrees Fahrenheit for optimal germination. So we germinate everything in our house, and after they pop up, then we bring them out and put them in our greenhouse outside. And then when they're ready to put in the garden or in pots for the nursery, then that's when we do that. But we germinate everything in the house. Well, this time of year. And this lettuce is a gourmet mix that came from Johnny's. Of course, that's where we buy most of our seeds, comes from Johnny's. So my battery went dead. I had to go in and change batteries. So I don't know how many more lettuces I have. I think the ones that I just took out of is less than what I already put in. But either way, I have enough, not necessarily lettuce to fill this bed, but I got enough kale and spinach to finish filling this bed. And I also have some Swiss chard too that I may put in here. But the spinach and kale, I definitely am. As I get a bunch of holes poked. I plant my lettuce roughly 6 inches apart in every direction. I don't use a tape measure and string lines. I just give it a rough eyeball. It's going to grow. You could use string lines and stuff, and it would be easier to weed around because everything would be perfect. But you know what? I don't worry too much about that kind of stuff. I think no matter what, your beds look good. It's not that hard to weed stuff. If you do it frequently enough, you can keep up with it pretty easily. I try to weed throughout the summer once a week. Normally on Sundays, I'll grab my stirrup hoe and I'll go through and weed everything. It doesn't take that long. A couple hours, I'm done. I got a lot of garden space. Not as much as a lot of people, but a fair bit anyway. The one thing is for sure, once we start getting lettuce off of these in a couple of weeks, our chickens are going to go insane because they love fresh greens, and they're definitely needing some fresh greens right now. And if you get your holes a little bit deep, it's not that big a deal. After I get this done, I will give them a good drink. Again, water them in good. I'll probably get some fish emulsion and bring it out here. Get it out of the greenhouse and come up here and spray it too, for give it a good fertilizing. So don't forget, we have sunchoke tubers and raspberry canes on our online store. We'll box them up and ship them out. All that information is below. We have soaps and shampoos and that kind of thing too. That's all natural. We get our lard from a local farmer. And all of our other ingredients that we use on that is local. Well, it's our well water, and then we use the only thing we buy in that we order in for our soap is the food grade lye that we use. I normally do a lot of seeding. Just I normally use the seeder a lot to seed a lot of things out, like lettuce and spinach and beets. This year I'm going to try to transplant everything, just for the simple fact that I know what I have before I get going, and I won't overseed. You waste a lot of seed when you direct seed, especially with the beets. Not so much everything else, but the beets you definitely do. Then this way I can have plants ready to go when the one crop comes out. I'll have stuff ready to put in. I poked the perfect amount of holes in for that. You believe that? Right there it is, the end. Last one. So that's 2 flats of lettuce. Not sure about the first one. The second one was a 72 cell flat. The first one I don't think was quite that. It was actually, I think it was 84 cells. I think the first one was 84 plants. It looks pretty good. In a couple of weeks, it's going to look really good because I'll be harvesting it and we'll be eating it. I was going to put the kale and spinach in yet today, but it's not quite ready, so I'm just going to give it some fish emulsion. And it doesn't take a whole lot of this stuff. I try not to hit it directly on the plants. I just go around them. That thing's kind of noisy. This is an automatic pump. I don't have to pump it up. What you just heard kick on was the pump. So what you do with fish emulsion, the same with any other organic fertilizer, you don't feed the plant, you're feeding the soil. This plant's telling the microbes underneath what it needs, and they're bringing it back to feed the plant. When they do that, then they're giving the plant, which is pulling carbon out of the atmosphere, it gives all the microbes sugars. And in turn, they're giving the plant everything it needs to live. That's how organic practices are. That's how nature does things. We don't try to redo nature. We work with her. She knows way more than what I ever will. So there it is, in the ground, looking good, freshly fertilized. And trust me, it stinks in here now. The stuff smells nasty, but it works really good. So, a couple days, I'll put the spinach and stuff in, and probably about 3 or 4 more weeks. Probably every second or third one in the middle will come out. Like this one here, it'll come out, and those two will stay. And that tomato plant will go right there. And then skip 2, and then that will come out. The whole way down through. And the tomatoes will be in here for quite some time, and this stuff here will be in here. The lettuces will be in here for, the tomatoes will be in here all summer, and the lettuces will be in here for about 2 months roughly. Then they'll come out, and I'll put some basil in. So